You wake to the phone's pull before your eyes even open. The notification tone, the swipe, the scroll. You look at a story of his new watch or her laugh at another man. You feel a surge, own it, right? But you know it's not yours. It's a hunger that arises not because you want, but because someone else wants first. This is Lacan's lesson. Desire is never yours. It's always caught in the echo of another's gaze. Your wants, your cravings, they're not truly yours. They're borrowed. You chase the car, the girl, the status, the muscle, but somehow it never satisfies you, because satisfaction isn't on the shelf. Satisfaction is an illusion created by the lack inside you. You feel it daily. That spike of dopamine when she likes your post. Then the drop. That snap of comparison when you scroll past his life. That ache when your bank account lags behind your ambition. That noise in your chest when she says, "Why do you always chase that?" That sting is lack. The split inside you between what you have and what you think you need. Lacan says this split is universal. We all live with lack, called Manque. We desire secondhand. We desire what will fill the gap others reveal, not what would actually fill us. You've chased her approval. You've chased social prestige. You've chased wealth, only to realize those trophies never belonged to you. They were projections of someone else's desire. But here's what finally hits like cold water. That lack isn't your enemy. It's your command center. It's the engine. Lacan believed our desire isn't about finding satisfaction. It's about discovering ourselves through desire, but only if we reclaim it. Only if we see the mirror that desire holds up to our own psyche and stop hiding behind its illusions. In modern life, this plays out as chasing curves on Instagram, chasing promotions, chasing ego through the next big purchase, believing that the climb will fill the hollow. But the climb just reveals how deep the hollow is. And every time you chase without self-awareness, you reinforce your own disconnection. You stay small. So what's the alternative? Lacan would tell you, desire starts with honesty. It starts when you recognize that your longing isn't just for the thing. It's for the feeling of being wanted. It's for identity. It's for a hole being filled. And that hole, it's real. It's your fracture. It's your untamed soul. When you point desire outward without acknowledging your internal lack, you surrender your inner compass. You let someone else drive your trajectory. You see it at work. That push for promotion that leaves you emotionally bankrupt. At home, that need for validation that costs you presence. With her, that need to be seen making you visible, not for intimacy, but for safety. You want connection, you want meaning, but you chase the wrong thing. You chase the facade, and you starve. So Lacan's invitation is radical. It's not about getting what you want. It's about understanding what's driving that want. It's about turning inside first before chasing outside. It's about asking, why does this matter to me? What am I trying to survive through it? That requires brutal self-reflection, not journaling platitudes, not watching meditation clips with headphones on the couch. Real work, nighttime honesty, confronting the stirrings you don't admit, feeling secondhand desire and refusing to chase until you know what you're chasing inside. Here's where modern men fold, because desire isn't a mission, it's a mystery. They look at their inbox or their bank balance and think, once I get there, I'll be okay. But Lacan points out the trap. You'll never get there, because the things you chase are symbols of what you think will complete you. The moment you grab the symbol, the desire shifts to another, and the hole yawns open again. But that hole can become your path. Instead of being an urge to chase, it can be a mirror for growth. It can be the portal to your autonomy. It can be the site where you learn to generate meaning from within instead reclaimed. You begin small. You wake and feel the hunger before you swipe. You stare at it. You ask, am I craving this because it's mine or because it's someone else's? You identify the desire and don't move. You sit. You breathe. You say loud in your mind, I notice you. Not to shame, but to see. You own your fractured inner world and hold space for the ghost in your chest. This is discomfort therapy. It rewires your dopamine. It teaches your nervous system not to chase but to rest. It reminds you that desire is an invitation, not a command. That you're not a slave to your hunger. You're a man learning its language. One day, you see it in her eyes. She's not just turned off by your silence. She's shut down because your being was borrowed. You bring your wholeness, not your chase. She responds not to your performance, but to your presence. You see it in work. You stop sprinting for the boss's approval and start sprinting for your own goals. The promotions come or they don't, but your blood hums with integrity either way. You're not defined by the outcome, but by your walk. You see it internally. The ache is still there, but it's now a teacher. It's reminding you of the fracture that led you to chase so hard, and you meet it with calm. You don't numb it with dopamine. You feel it, learn from it. Because Lacan doesn't offer comfort. He offers clarity. He says, your desire is not yours until you understand it, until it becomes your mirror, until you stop living in the projection and start living in the fracture. That's the first step, the awakening. The moment you stop running and start meeting. So feel it. That ache, that hunger, that impulse to chase approval through her voice or social scroll or financial achievement. Feel it. Then don't leap. Just feel it. Let it separate from your action. And in that gap, you reclaim your own desire. That is masculinity elevated. You've been told your whole life that success will satisfy you, that love will stabilize you, that when you get the house, the woman, the cash, the calm will follow. But look around. You've hit some of those targets. You've had nights where she curled into you like a promise. You've cashed the check, clinked the glasses, smiled for the photos. And yet, when it's quiet, when the noise drops out, there it is again, that hollow. Lacan named it the lack, not weakness, not trauma. A fundamental fracture at the center of your being. An unfillable space that every man feels but most never understand. So they compensate with addiction, dopamine loops, noise, performance, applause, and call it purpose. But you're smarter now. You've seen through the seduction. You've started to ask, why do I still feel incomplete, even when things go right? Because your entire life has been built around chasing what others seem to want. That's the hook, the trap, the unending loop. You see it in her eyes. She wants the man who knows what he wants. But when your desire has always been a reflection of someone else's fantasy, how can you lead? How can you offer truth when you haven't located your own? You chase sex, not connection. You chase numbers, not impact. You chase aesthetics, not meaning. And every time you grab the thing, it slides through your hands because it was never yours. It was theirs, and it leaves you emptier than before. This is the male sickness of our age. It's not weakness, it's misalignment. It's the erosion of inner voice beneath external signals. You've made desire your god, but desire, according to Lacan, is a mask, a distortion, a decoy built on someone else's longing. And until you make it yours, by seeing it, dissecting it, understanding it, you're not alive. You're just a mimic. Most men live there. You see it at the gym. He doesn't want to be strong. He wants to be seen as strong. You see it on the app. He doesn't want intimacy. He wants validation. You see it in the mirror. You don't want truth. You want relief. But real masculinity is never found in relief. It's found in clarity. The clarity that comes when you finally stop running from your own hollow and turn toward it. Not to fix it, not to cure it, but to listen to it. Because that hollow, that's where your original voice lives, the one that existed before approval, before strategy, before you became a machine of reaction. Lacan called it the real, the brutal, unfiltered truth beneath all illusions. And most men spend their whole lives avoiding it, drowning in ego and productivity and porn and praise. But not you. You've started to sense it, that if you don't reclaim your desire, someone else will use it to control you. The algorithm, her mood, your boss, society, all of them feeding you a steady stream of this is what a man wants. And you eat it until you forget what hunger even feels like. This is where it turns. Desire isn't your enemy. Blind desire is. You start to wake up when you stop chasing and start creating. Not for performance, not for applause, but for you. That's how the fracture becomes fuel. You open your laptop not to impress, but to build something no one else can take from you. You speak in meetings not to posture, but to shape the room with your presence. You train not to post, but to anchor yourself in your own body, your own edge. This is how you break the loop. You stop looking at her to know what you want. You stop waiting for feedback to know if you're enough. You stop needing mirrors. You become the source. Lacan called this traversing the fantasy. The moment you stop being seduced by the illusion of fulfillment and start living with the truth of your own lack while building through it. Not trying to escape it, not trying to fix it, just using it, honoring it. That's maturity, that's masculine adulthood, where you stop chasing desire and start shaping it, where you stop blaming the world and start owning your signal, where you stop collapsing into love and start bringing it. But make no mistake, she will feel the shift. Because when a man moves from mimicry to mastery, the dynamic breaks. She can no longer pull your strings, not because you're distant, but because you're clear. She'll say, "You've changed." She'll say, "You're cold." She'll say, "You're not who you were." And she'll be right, because who you were was built for approval. Who you're becoming is built for truth. You'll walk differently, speak differently, decide differently, not from ego, but from alignment. You won't beg to be seen. You won't perform for connection. You won't chase symbols. You'll build systems, live by code, stand like a man. This isn't detachment. This is depth. The depth that comes from looking into your own shadow and saying, "I see you. I won't run anymore. I won't project you onto her. I won't chase you in the next thing. I'll sit with you. I'll learn from you. And I'll build anyway." This is what Lacan meant by transformation. Not into perfection, but into presence. The kind that holds tension without needing resolution. The kind that sees desire for what it is, a reflection, not a command. And when you start living like that, you stop chasing, you start choosing, you stop seeking, you start speaking, you stop pretending to be a man, you start becoming one. You didn't choose your name, you didn't choose your language, you didn't choose your first desires, your fears, your self-image. All of that was given to you, branded into your nervous system before you could speak. That's the symbolic order, as Lacan called it, the structure you were born into, the rules of identity written by society, enforced by culture, and executed most ruthlessly by your own self. And now you're trapped in it. You want freedom. You won't find it by chasing desires. You won't find it by becoming successful in a system built to contain you. You only find it by breaking the symbol, by refusing the role, by confronting the machinery that's been running your life from the inside out. You've already felt it, that voice in your head that says, "Be a good man, be safe, don't ruffle feathers, don't take up too much space, make her happy and she'll stay." It all sounds noble until you realize it's killing you. You've become domesticated, not just by women, not just by culture, but by your unconscious loyalty to a script you never wrote. You don't even know what's yours anymore. Your goals, fed to you by Instagram. Your identity, molded by school systems, sitcoms, and broken fathers. Your masculinity, defined by rejection and apology. Lacan showed that language itself is a trap. You think in concepts you didn't invent. You speak in systems that decide who you get to be. You've been handed a dictionary that doesn't include your name. And you wonder why you feel small, why you feel fake, why even at your highest achievements, you feel like an imposter. Because you are. You're an imposter in someone else's structure. A man wearing a mask built by people who benefit from your obedience. So what do? You stop pretending. You stop being the good boyfriend if that means becoming spineless. You stop being the team player if that means being voiceless. You stop being the emotionally available man if that means being endlessly moldable. You start being something else, something dangerous. A man who knows he was born into lack. A man who knows his desires were hijacked. A man who looks at the system and says, I see you. I will not be defined by you. This is where most men flinch. They want liberation, but not responsibility. They want power, but not discipline. They want freedom, but they still need permission. But freedom doesn't come from freedom. It comes from structure. Not the structure given to you, the structure you build. When you wake before dawn, not because of motivation, but because you own your time. When you speak your truth, not to argue, but to take space. When you move with restraint, not to impress, but to hold power. You are no longer a puppet of the symbolic order. You are a creator within it. You no longer chase symbols, you use them. You no longer seek love, you give it. You no longer fear rejection, you invite it. Because the man who breaks the symbol builds his own name. But don't confuse this with rebellion for rebellion's sake. This isn't about being loud, it's about being anchored. You still live in the world, you still pay bills, you still show up to relationships, but you're not lost in them. You don't perform, you don't bend, you lead, even when it costs you, because it will cost you. When you stop mimicking desire, women will get uncomfortable. They won't know how to manipulate you. They'll say you're cold, detached, disconnected, and maybe for a while you will be. Because detachment is the withdrawal from addiction, and your addiction was approval. So you'll detox from her moods, from their opinions, from the world's constant reminder of who they say you should be. And in that silence, you'll find something you haven't heard in years. Yourself. Not the you they clapped for, not the you they criticized, but the version that stands even when no one's watching. The man who can suffer with dignity, the man who can build with no praise, the man who can say no, not because it's edgy, but because it's final. That's power, not explosive, not loud, unshakable. A man who lives through his own lens, who lets desire pass like weather, who holds his code like breath, who is still fractured, but no longer ashamed. That's what Lacan was really offering. Not a cure, a confrontation, not healing, integration. The lack never leaves, the structure never vanishes, but you stop being owned by it. You stop apologizing for your existence. You stop looking for salvation in others' eyes. You walk, you build, you lead. Not perfectly, but sovereign. This is your task now, to confront the desire that was never yours, to break the name that was handed to you, to build the life that answers to no one but your future self. And if the world says, "Who do you think you are?" you say, "I'm becoming what I was never allowed to be." That's it. That's the mission. No more apologizing for your hunger. No more collapsing under guilt. No more chasing ghosts. Just you. against the structure. With fire in your gut and silence in your bones, that's where you win. You didn't come this far by accident. You didn't feel these words because you're curious. You felt them because they're speaking to a part of you that's been ignored, caged, manipulated. Subscribe and stay connected so you don't get pulled back into the noise. This isn't for the crowd. This is for the man who's building something the world doesn't yet understand. You're not broken. You're waking up.